In early 2024, we did a video explaining how to find the next 100x meme coins. In retrospect, the timing of that video couldn't have been better because what followed was a massive meme coin season. Fast forward to today and we seem to be on the brink of another big meme coin wave.
Here comes another one!
However, the game has changed since our last video, and finding the next 100x requires a new approach. That's why today we're going to explain exactly what has changed, reveal where the next top meme coins are likely to come from, and show you how to find them. My name is Guy, and this is a video you don't want to miss. Alright, let's start with what's changed. So, at the end of our last video about how to find 100x meme coins, we cautioned that there could be a regulatory crackdown on meme coins due to potential nefarious activity like pump and dumps. To our surprise, though, the exact opposite happened earlier this year. SEC officials started saying that most meme coins were not securities, something later reiterated by the new SEC chair. For context, securities are assets like stocks and bonds, and issuers of these assets need to register with the SEC. As such, the SEC's declaration that meme coins are not securities means that most meme coins are basically on the same level as Bitcoin and are not at risk of any regulatory crackdowns in the US. Now, many have joked that this declaration means that crypto crime is now legal so long as it's done using meme coins, but obviously it's a bit more nuanced than that. The SEC has made it clear that it will still investigate any nefarious activity in the meme coin space, but the securities exemption means any investigations will only take place after the fact. There are few restrictions on new meme coin launches. Now, this is very important to note because it means that the next meme coin hype is likely to be even more insane than the last one. More importantly, it means that the structure of the meme coin market is going to be completely different as well, and this means you'll need a different approach to find the next 100x. Previously, the way you'd find the next 100x meme coin was to look at the chain or ecosystem that meme coin belonged to. If that chain or ecosystem was pumping, then there was a high chance that the meme coin would pump as well, if it was catchy. For example, in 2024, Sol pumped a lot, and the result was that catchy meme coins on Solana did exceptionally well. But again, this is a dynamic that's changing fast. Instead of looking at chains and ecosystems, we need to shift our focus to launchpads. That's simply because the SEC has declared that most meme coins are not securities. So, this means that it's possible for launchpads to start doing things like meme coin pre-sales without violating any securities laws. Now, logically, the earlier you get into a meme coin, the higher the chances that you'll exit with a life-changing gain. But of course, not all launchpads are created equal. If you're familiar with meme coins, you'll know that pump.fun is the largest meme coin launchpad, and you'll probably also know that it doesn't have the best reputation due to controversies around its livestream feature. The result is that many meme coin investors will ignore a meme coin if they see that pump word at the end of the contract address. Fortunately, or maybe unfortunately, many more meme coin launchpads have emerged in recent months, and these are likely to be the ones that deliver the next meme coin moonshots. So, this begs the question of how you can find these launchpads and their meme coins. Well, the answer is a platform called Axiom. Now, Axiom is a meme coin-focused trading terminal on Solana, and it keeps track of all the meme coins being launched through all of the most popular launchpads. And this can be easily done on the Pulse page of the dashboard, which allows you to filter by launchpad using the little filters button as shown here. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Axiom, then be sure to check out our tutorial using the link down in the description. And that's also where you'll find our sign-up link, which will give you 10% cashback for life, as well as a 2x points multiplier, which could put you in line for a potential Axiom airdrop. And we know how lucrative those can be. So if you appreciate that, then smash that like button and subscribe to the channel and ping that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more crypto alpha or exclusive deals like these. Anyways, so to recap, the SEC's declaration earlier this year that most meme coins are not securities sets the stage for another massive meme coin rally and has also changed the structure of the meme coin market, meaning that we need to think less about chains and ecosystems and more about launchpads. Even so, this doesn't change the fact that most meme coins continue to launch on Solana. That's just because Solana is fast and has low fees. It also has low latency, meaning that it feels seamless for end users. This is largely thanks to user-friendly crypto wallets like Phantom that allow for easy token swaps. If you've been keeping up with our Solana updates, you'll know that we've repeatedly highlighted the fact that the Phantom wallet flipped Coinbase in app stores at the end of 2024 when the Memecoin hype was at its peak. In our view, this was a watershed moment because it revealed a somewhat uncomfortable truth. Exchanges are no longer as accessible and user-friendly as wallets like Phantom. In other words, the hurdles of using a wallet like Phantom to swap a meme coin are much lower than creating an account on an exchange like Coinbase and fumbling through all the different options to buy the meme coin you want with the fiat you deposited. In practical terms, this means that exchange listings are not nearly as important as they once were in determining how big a meme coin could get. Still, this doesn't change the fact that the more exchange listings a meme coin has, the better. That's just because the more accessible it is, the more money that can flow into it and pump its price higher. The catch, though, is that by the time a meme coin lists on a centralized exchange, it's probably seen most of its gains already. And this brings us back to ground zero and level one, the blockchain this meme coin is on, as well as the launchpad that created it. Newsflash, but Solana isn't the only fast, low-cost, and low-latency blockchain out there. There's also Sui, which happens to be supported by the Phantom wallet too. Toncoin arguably falls into the same bucket as well, as it's accessible via Telegram's user-friendly wallet interface. What this means is that there are really only a handful of chains you need to focus on when it comes to finding the next 100x meme coin, specifically Solana, Sui, Toncoin, and potentially Hyperliquid and Aptos, as well as select layer 2s like Coinbase's Base, which are easily accessible via Coinbase. Most other chains are either too slow, too expensive, or have high latency due to suboptimal front ends. So, now that we've narrowed down the list of chains at ground zero, we can move to level one, the launchpad being used to create a meme coin. From our perspective, what matters the most when it comes to meme coin launchpads are the connections that Launchpad has to other key players in the crypto industry, particularly to other key players associated with the Launchpad or the blockchain it's on. Take the Believe app, for instance. It's a newer meme coin launchpad on Solana that seems to have close connections to key players in the crypto industry because its founder was apparently the first investor in Moonshot, the mobile app that went viral after the Trump meme coin launched earlier this year. Given that Moonshot is also a launchpad, this suggests that meme coins from Moonshot and the Believe app could have more potential compared to meme coins from other launchpads. And if you're wondering exactly which meme coins, well, you'll have to do your own research there. Pro tip though, look for connections those meme coins have to the founders of their respective launchpads, as well as connections to other key players in crypto.
Apologies for the interruption, folks, but I very quickly want to tell you about the Coin Bureau deals page. Now, if you're interested in things like discounts on hardware wallets, money off trading fees, and exchange sign-up bonuses, then the Coin Bureau deals page is absolutely the place that you need to check out. The link is in the description below. These are some of the best deals and promos in all of crypto, so check it out when you have a moment. Okay, enough from me, back to the video.
So, to recap, the next top meme coins are likely to be launched using launchpads with connections to key players in the crypto industry that are on fast, low-cost blockchains with low latency. In turn, the meme coins on the launchpads that are likely to perform the best are those with the most connections either to the launchpad itself, or to the chain it's on, or to other key players in crypto. But by this point, you're probably wondering what this means for all the other meme coins that have already launched. Do they still have potential, or is it only new meme coins that could 100x? Well, believe it or not, but it's possible that many older meme coins will yield even larger returns than newer ones. To understand why, it's worth remembering the typical price cycle of a meme coin. When it first launches, its price tends to go vertical. Then its price crashes sharply as insiders sell. After that, There's one or two bounces that make late buyers and believers think it will recover, and then a crash and a flatline in price. So at that stage, one of two things happens. Either the meme coin dies off, or the community continues trying to revive its pulse. Naturally, most meme coins will completely die off. Only a few manage to build communities that are large and dedicated enough to keep it alive after the initial launch pump. Now, figuring out whether a meme coin is dead or just sleeping is super easy. Just check its activity on X, Telegram, and Discord. If you can see that all these accounts are active and that the community is continuing to DCA into the meme coin and planning to revive it, then it is not dead. If you can see that there haven't been any X posts in months and there's little social activity, then it is dead. And if you've determined that the meme coin in question is just sleeping, then the next step is to figure out whether this meme coin could ever awaken. And this is where things get interesting, because much like altcoins, the potential of a meme coin ultimately depends on its narrative. To refresh your memory, the two meme coin narratives that were popular back in 2024 were dogs, so think dog with hat and Bitcoin dog, and memes, think Pepe and Brett. Besides the fact that it's unlikely that these meme coin narratives will become big again, since they've already had their time in the spotlight, most of these meme coins have probably already seen most of their gains for this cycle in percentage terms. Now, to be clear, this doesn't mean that these meme coins won't pump. In fact, it's likely that they will because they've grown big enough to become de facto blue chips in the meme coin niche. But again, the purpose of this tutorial isn't to analyze the current blue chips. It's to find the next blue chips before they 100x. That's why you have to think, what could the next big meme coin narratives be? Well, as far as we can tell, it looks like cat meme coins could be one of them. Aside from the fact that we've come across lots of cat meme coins with connections to key players in crypto in our research, the idea of cat meme coins becoming big after dog meme coins kind of makes sense in a weird way. It's almost like a natural progression. Another meme coin narrative that could get big for similar reasons is food. If you were around during the DeFi summer of 2020, you'll recall that there were dozens of food-themed DeFi protocols that got big. And funnily enough, we're starting to see something similar with crypto niches today. Maple Finance's Syrup token comes to mind, and it's not the only one. It's possible the food theme will spill over into meme coins. FYI, I hold Syrup as part of my personal portfolio, by the way. But back to the potential of new meme coins versus old meme coins. Unless you're one of the first to get into a new meme coin, then chances are you'll make bigger returns getting into older meme coins that fall into narratives that could potentially get big, like the ones that we discussed, cat memes, food memes, etc. Note that the list of narratives here is not exhaustive, and there's no guarantee these will get big either. Now, to put things into perspective, making it big on a new meme coin would mean getting in early and then selling within the first few days or even the first few hours of the meme coin launching. If you're lucky, you'll walk away with a 10x because new meme coins don't always see very large inflows. And if you're very lucky, you'll walk away with a 100x because it was one of the few that became a blue chip. By contrast, making it big on an older meme coin would mean taking the time to find the ones that fall into narratives that could potentially get big and getting in at levels that could even be lower than the initial launch price. That's because most older meme coins are in the flatline phase of their price cycle. If you look closely at some of these older meme coin charts, you'll notice that reclaiming the closest zone of support would probably translate to a 5 to 10x, with the all-time highs being 50 or even 100x away. Again, unless the meme coin has actually died, there is a chance that it could reclaim or even surpass these highs. And that reminds me, in case you didn't already know, the potential of a meme coin fundamentally depends on its market cap. The smaller the market cap, the more a meme coin can pump or dump. Most older meme coins that have flatlined have market caps in the single-digit millions, sometimes much less. This means that it's easier for them to pump compared to, say, a meme coin that just launched and already has a market cap in the tens of millions. The best part is that because there's a previous price history for older meme coins, it makes it easier to get a sense of where there's likely to be lots of selling. Now, on the one hand, this means long-term holders of this meme coin can see the same levels and could sell around them. On the other hand, though, if someone is still holding or still DCAing into an old meme coin that has a market cap of $1 million or less, then chances are they're not doing it to exit at a 2 to 5x profit. They're probably waiting to sell once the meme coin gets as big as they hope it will. In this sense, you can think of old meme coins as potentially giving you the opportunity to enter the next blue chip at a lower level without having to do anything crazy to get in early. You also won't have to be up 24 to 48 hours after it launches, stressing about selling too early or too late, like with new meme coins. Older meme coins also make it easier to assess roughly how high the coin in question could go and when to start taking profits. Best of all, you can allocate, sit back, and wait for the narrative to become big. Just make sure to take the time to think about which meme coin narratives could become big. The last thing you want to do is blindly copy whatever's being told to you by some video on YouTube. Now, to wrap things up, I want to address the elephant in the room, and that's the idea that there will never be another meme coin season. Proponents of this idea claim that because investors lost money during the previous meme coin season, the chances of another meme coin season happening are slim. If that were true, though, then the crypto market wouldn't have repeated cycles. It would have died after the first cycle in 2013, because most investors would have lost money in that first cycle and thrown in the towel for good. As we know, though, most of those investors came back in future cycles. The 2017 cycle was bigger than the 2013 cycle, and the 2021 cycle was bigger than the 2017 cycle. This reveals the underlying idea behind the assumption that there will never be another meme coin season, and that's that all of the investors who could buy have already bought. There are no new investors coming. Notably, this is the same underlying assumption in the idea that altcoins will never rally. All the retail are already here. Well, as we underscored in our video about when retail investors could arrive, the total number of crypto investors, including retail, could theoretically triple to match those in stocks. Subsequent research by Galaxy Digital found evidence of this. The number of crypto investors has been steadily rising over the last year, and it will go parabolic alongside price action when investors start paying attention to crypto again. Given this fact, there's a high chance that there will be another meme coin season at some point, and the same is true for altcoin season. Nobody knows exactly when this will happen, but history suggests that it will eventually. The caveat, though, is that this assumes that this time isn't different, which is certainly up for debate. This begs a bigger question, though, and that's whether meme coins are competing with altcoins for capital. After all, there's been a lot of talk about how meme coins are, quote, draining liquidity from altcoins. Well, if this is true, then it would stand to reason that an altcoin season would drain liquidity from meme coins. But again, the idea that there's limited investment and capital in crypto seems to be empirically false. The fact of the matter is that retail will chase whatever pumps, whether it's a meme coin, altcoin, meme stock, or Bitcoin treasury company. And the more these assets pump, the more existing investors will increase their allocations, and the more new investors will arrive to do the same. If you're not convinced, then consider this. In April this year, retail investors bought stocks at record levels, according to JP Morgan. And in June, data from Goldman Sachs found that nearly 48% of all stock market trading volume was in penny stocks, which are a proxy for retail trading activity. Consider that this was more than double the amount of retail volume that we saw back in 2020 during the meme stock mania. So, in sum, the data suggests that lots of retail investors are still around, many more could still come to crypto, and they have lots of money. Taken together, this suggests that highly speculative cryptos like meme coins and altcoins will eventually rally. The only missing ingredient seems to be attention, which is likely to come once Bitcoin starts hitting new astronomical heights in the coming months. And if you want to know how high BTC could go, then check out our video about the top Bitcoin predictions for 2025 using the link in the top right. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Guy, signing off.